Welcome everyone to the BBQ Bites and the AMA Backyard Barbecue Facebook group. My name is Carrie Celine, and today I'm joined here by Chef Brad Smoliak, and who is a member of the Backyard Barbecue group. So we're going to be talking today about cooking for a crowd, cooking for a gathering, a party. Now that we can have some parties again, I guess. Maybe that's pretty exciting for all of us. So we're talking to the right person today. I know we've worked with Brad for a while, Taste Alberta, and Brad is a big supporter of local food. So I'm so happy you could join us today. I think one of the very first events that Taste Alberta had, it was a harvest fair. It was a pop-up dinner that you had created for us. And So, and it was for, I think there was about 70 to 80 people that had come. And so I'm excited to have you here today. Thank you for coming and joining us and providing all your expertise on cooking for a crowd. So let's just start with a little bit of, you have a spot downtown Edmonton kitchen. How did that get started?
Well, that really got started when I had left kind of the restaurant business. I had started getting into catering and doing cooking classes in people's homes, as well as doing research and product development for other companies, food companies, retailers, grocers. And I said, I need a space where I can do everything. So the nice thing about kitchen is we can have a quick dinner, a formal dinner, or a cooking class out front, or cocktail reception. And then in the back, we do research and product development for other companies.
Yeah, wonderful. So, awesome. That's great. And I've been there before, and I think you did a quick little cooking class for us one time as well. So that it's a really nice space that you have there.
Thank you.
The first question I have is about kind of preparing the menu. Like, you got 8 to 10 people coming over. What kinds of things should I be looking at cooking besides local food, besides Alberta products? But what's the second thing on your list?
Well, I think that sometimes people try and think things and try and make them too difficult. Remember, when you're entertaining at home, the word entertainment. So they want to be, you want to visit with people. It's not necessarily just about the food. So I say keep it really, really simple. We're going into summertime, finally, with some beautiful hot weather. Food safety to keep in mind, obviously. So, like when we're having people over, we'll do like a marinated salad. Stay away from the, necessarily the mayonnaise and the heavy egg-based or cream-based, especially if you're serving outside. And anything that you can do ahead of time or prep ahead of time will save you so much time and effort. There's nothing worse than having 12 people come over and you're having a recipe that doesn't work and your barbecue's on fire. So, and that does happen. It happened to me. So
I think I can recall something like that happening to me as well. Yeah, the chicken was on fire. Comes out black.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So pre-cook as much you can, kind of, and stay away from kind of anything that might spoil in the backyard.
Yeah. And it's not necessarily so much pre-cooking, but just having everything, things chopped and ready to go, and dressings and marinades and everything ready to go, and all your equipment ready to go. Not just the barbecue, but good tongs, like everything's set and in its place. Mise en place.
Oh, I like it. Yes, great. Yeah. Okay, speaking of marinade, since you mentioned it, I have one of the questions from a member of the Backyard Barbecue group is, do you have a quick little recipe that you can share for a chicken marinade?
Well, this is one of our favorite recipes, and you don't necessarily, I don't like to use recipes at home all that much, just because I spend most of my time working with recipes, so I like to go off the cuff. And all you have to do is take a good, high quality, full fat yogurt, mix it together with a little bit of cold pressed canola oil, and so take a container of yogurt, 500 milligrams, or milliliters, maybe 2 tablespoons of canola oil. I throw in some mustard seed, some fresh chopped herbs. You can throw, if you like a little sweeter, you can throw some honey in there or chili flakes. And this works great for any type of chicken. It'll really help to keep the moisture in with chicken breasts. It kind of acts as an insulator, but as well the yogurt will help to break down the meat and make it a little bit more tender.
Great. And I think you mentioned 4 or 5 Alberta products in that in all those ingredients. So there's the yogurt for Alberta dairy,
Yeah.
canola is grown in Alberta, honey grown in Alberta, mustard's grown in Alberta. So I love it. Perfect. How about any tips you can share in terms of how do you, cooking for a crowd? One of the things that I certainly struggle with is to have everything ready at the same time.
Right.
And yeah, I don't know. Like it always seems, it never fails that you're waiting for something to cook while something else is, you know, been ready for 10, 15 minutes. So
Yeah, and that's always a challenge. And the thing that's also a challenge, especially when you're barbecuing, and it's just something that we don't think about consciously all the time. But weather does play a big part of it. If you're barbecuing in 10-degree weather or 30-degree weather, food's going to take a lot longer or shorter to cook. So the first thing I do after I start my barbecue is I turn my oven on to 170 degrees. Our oven goes down to 160, but if it goes down to 170, so an example would be if we're cooking and we have like baked potatoes, they can stay in the oven warm. The veg can stay in the oven warm, and you can finish your steaks, pork chops, or whatever while everything stays hot. And again, you have your food safety that you don't have to worry about while it's in the oven. It won't dry out. At 170, it's not really going to dry out if you leave it in there up to a half an hour. Something large like a turkey or something like a bigger chicken or a big roast, you probably could leave in for an hour or so.
oh, okay, good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so if you were doing, say, a flank steak, one of the members had a question is that, you've got it, you've rested it, you've cut it up.
Yeah.
Can you then take those strips that you've cut up and can you put them on the barbecue really quickly to sear them for a couple of minutes, or does that kind of ruin it and the texture? And
Well, the problem with doing that with flank steak is because you want to serve flank steak medium rare-ish. And if you do that, what's going to happen is, you can overcook it. It's going to be tough. It's going to be dry. One thing that I assume that maybe this person is asking because they have a family member that wants their meat well done, and we got questions asked about that all the time. And it's your preference if that's the way you want it. One of the things that I've learned over the years is putting a lettuce leaf on the grill and then putting your meat steak on top, and the steam will actually help to cook the meat quicker and then sear it after. Does that
oh,
make sense?
so you put the meat on top of the lettuce leaf?
Yeah, right on top of like the iceberg or romaine.
Okay.
Let it cook, and the steam and the lettuce will help to cook the meat. And then take the meat off the lettuce and put it on the grill and mark it or cook it till you're done this. But it'll help cook the meat without burning it on the outside,
Yeah. And is that
unless
a
that's the way
little,
you like it.
yeah, well, that's a neat little trick. And so would that work as well if you're, you've got the family members and, 3 want it medium, 1 wants it well done, and the rest want it rare. So
Yeah,
um, would that kind of, with the one that wants it well done and you cook that one on the lettuce, would that be kind of your recommendation?
yeah, that's the way I do. I do it if we have one family member that likes theirs well done. Put it on the lettuce, and it steams. The meat will get steamed, and then take it off because it might be a little bit gray, and then just make sure you mark it after that time. Because if
Yeah.
you keep it on the heat all the time, you are going to have a situation where it's dried out, and there's a big difference between crust,
Hmm.
nice crust, flavorful crust, and dry and burnt out. And that's the risk that you have with well done sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna ask if there was any other tips you can share. There was one other question about heat, and I assume it's cooking something perfectly on the barbecue. Like, should you start with the medium heat and keep it at a medium heat, or should do you recommend start at a medium, end it with a high, or and I suppose it depends on what you're cooking, but say you're cooking, I guess, those steaks again.
It totally honestly depends on what you're cooking.
Mhm.
And again, I say, some people say, well, I put my barbecue at medium, it's not hot enough. Well, then turn it up. All barbecues react a little differently. What I usually do is, I think one of the things that a lot of people don't do, and that's preheat your grill. So if I'm barbecuing steaks, I go outside after I've turned my oven on. I go outside, I start my barbecue, I crank it up to as high as it'll go, have a beer, have a Caesar, and then when I'm ready to put the steaks on, I put them on to about a medium low. And in addition, I don't light the whole barbecue. I have the other side for like a resting zone in case one steak is cooking quicker than the other. You can just leave a little resting zone, which is very helpful.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for that tip. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Anything else? Any other tips that you had thought of while we were chatting here?
It's very interesting to watch people on the barbecue because um, they think that they can cook as well as chefs. And yes, there are a lot of people that can. I'm not saying that, but make yourself life a little bit easier. There's so many different technological advances now. Buy yourself a thermometer. That way you're going to be sure that you're cooking the meat to the proper temperature. I've probably cooked, I'm going to say, at least 25,000 steaks, if not more, in my lifetime.
Hmm.
And you get used to that. But I mean, it's kind of a challenge when you have 12 family members that are waiting for dinner and hungry, and you just want to make sure that you have it to the right temperature
Yeah.
that you
You
like.
can probably tell just by touch and feel. I know some people use the hand method or
Yeah, you use a
well
hand
done
method.
stuff, but yeah,
Yeah. So, and that's really the easiest, to
the
do.
thermometers. Yeah, I'm a big fan of a thermometer for sure.
Big fan.
Yeah, yeah. And then also the resting after makes a big difference too.
Huge difference, and especially with Alberta pork, or any pork, is that you have to rest it. It just will stay so much more juicy than putting it right on the plate and cutting into it.
Great. What's your favorite thing to put on a barbecue?
That's probably about the toughest question because it really depends on what the mood is.
Hmm.
I would say probably nothing beats to me a beer brine double pork chop on
Mm,
the grill. You
yeah,
know, that to me is just heaven, and it's just nice and juicy, and the flavors are great, and
yeah,
so delicious.
yeah. Great. Okay, well, thank you so much, Brad, for your time today and all your tips. And are you having classes again at Kitchen or?
We will be launching some new classes in July, and we are going to be talking about outdoor cooking. And then one thing, another theme that we're going to be doing is we're also going to be doing a very heavy veg-centric cooking class because we are having a lot of people that ask, they don't know how to cook vegetables, or they may not have seen that vegetable before. So
Yeah,
and as you know, we grow so many incredible vegetables here in Alberta, and use them, use
yeah.
them
So
wisely.
what's your tip for cooking vegetables on the grill? I mean, do you douse it in some canola oil or so
Well, again, like, it
yeah,
totally depends. We have a roasted vegetable salad that's more of a grilled, and we put everything in the foil and let it, because there's something about when the foil cooks and things get caramelized, especially like onions, and you
mm,
mix them all together. And then again, I like to keep it pretty simple. So yes, it is usually cold pressed canola oil, and
yeah.
then a splash of vinegar and
Oh,
a
okay.
boatload of herbs.
Yes. Yes.
Whatever you're growing in your garden or whatever you buy fresh. Don't
Okay.
necessarily follow a recipe, but what your family likes and enjoys. So when I'm making it, there's just a boatload of green onions that we put on it, and fresh parsley, and it's the sweetness comes out, and everything just tastes so good.
Oh, it sounds delicious. Yes. And I already know that you're an awesome chef and everything that you've created. for anything that we've done has always been so delicious. So
Awesome.
I'll be sure to follow some of these tips for sure. But
Awesome.
thank you again.
Thank you very much. Happy grilling.
Yeah, exactly.